Hi, Trina Wright here. Welcome back to the Evolution of You course. So exciting. Today we're going to delve into the idea of who you really are. And I trust that you've had an opportunity to play with the little exercise where you just wrote out some ideas around who you really are. I'm sure it's not a new concept for any of you, that you are more than just your physicality. It seems like that's a pretty common understanding and knowing. And so what we want to do is just really explore that concept. So what does it mean that I'm more than just my physicality? I'm more than just my physical body. Well, of course, we know it means that there is this part of me that is source energy. There's this aspect of me that is fully connected. And when I think about it, I like to play with it, and I like to think about it as all of me is actually source energy. And as I made my emergence into the physical and began to express in that way, there was a shifting in the energy. There was a difference in how the energy not flowed, but presented itself, because now I'm in this three-dimensional construct, this three-dimensional interface that interacts with the world. And so for many people, and I don't know if it's true, but it's one possibility, that as we sink into that physicality is sort of has a lower vibration. For something to be physical means that the atoms have sort of slowed down, and it's a lower vibration than as we sort of think of the higher vibrations. And I don't know if that's true and if there's any value in it. What I think is delightful and interesting is that from a quantum physics perspective, we know that in any solid matter, there's more space than there is matter. And so the spaces between the atoms, the spaces within the atoms, is mostly moving energy, which means that everything is in a constant state of becoming. It's our sort of representation of it. So there's so many ways and so many places that we can take this to, but for the simplicity, I just wanted to start with the idea of what it's like to drop into the knowing that we're more than we think we are. And not only just at the level that I'm not just the blood and bones, that there's this higher version self of me, there's this inner being of me, but what does it mean that I am that? Like, I'm not Trina. I'm source energy. I'm love. I'm flow. I'm connected with the power that creates worlds. I'm that. That's where I came from, and that's the flow that I still have. And yes, my inner being stands as sort of the representation and the bridge of that connection, of the source energy that because that's how I like to refer to her, flows into me and through me. But at the same time, at some point, the blending is so strong that it's hard to tell the difference between her and I, because we're facets of the same being. And so I'm infused with that source energy. I am that source energy. So I am love. And so then I like to think about, well, if I'm love and I'm source and I'm now expressing in a physical body, what does that mean for me? What does it look like? And how do I really play with the concept of being more than I thought I was? So the first idea is to sort of step back in that knowing, step away from kind of not just your physicality and your body, which could seem easy. I mean, when we meditate or when we just envision ourselves as being energy, that's great. But it's also the idea of stepping away from the personality and this identity that we've taken on, because it's nothing more than just kind of like a token in a game that we're playing here on this planet at this time, this leading edge time space place. So what would it feel like to sort of step back and kind of almost feel a little detached? So there is much talk in spiritual type circles about stepping into that feeling of awareness. So there's this part of me that is aware of me as me. There's a part of me that's aware of me as Trina. So then as I step back into that awareness, that's closer to the essence of all of who I am, because the fuller part of me can then see that other part of me. So I could sort of stand back and watch Trina interacting, watch Trina being in this experience just from a place of awareness. And that is definitely part of it. And it's really cool and fun to play with that idea of who are we really? And so I invite you to explore this concept on your own a little bit, and just whether it's through writing or through a conversation with a friend or through the Facebook group, just have some conversation about how you view yourself. What does it mean that you're more than just this physicality, this personality? And what would it mean if you kind of saw that identity in a different way, so that you weren't completely detached, but that you were able to acknowledge that any given moment, sure, I'm this label that I've identified myself as, I'm Trina, but I also have the backing of Source. I have the flow of Source energy through me at all times, because it really seems that in our experience of humanity, that's often been left out. There's so much focus on what it means to be human, and so much of what it means to be human seems to be attached to emotion, like attached to feeling what someone else feels and really going there with them, which we both know, if you know anything about most of these concepts, that means that I step out of my alignment so that I can validate this feeling of disalignment for you, which really is not my preference, because I value my alignment more than anything. So if I lived in the knowing that I am more than just this personality, that I'm constantly connected to this stream, to this flow, to the Source that I am, that it's infused in me, that every cell is that Source energy, then what? How would that change things? What would that mean for me? And how much easier would it be for me to not only attune to that part of me, but to also flow it, and to just stay committed and grounded and solid and stable in the knowing that that's the energy that I want to express. That's the energy that I want to be connected to. And so that part of me being lit up is more important than anything else. So one thing I like to think about is, if you envision that every part of you, every soul, atom, fiber, every space that makes you, this physical you, what you know is you, which seems to have a boundary but really doesn't, but for the sake of this, let's just say it does. Every aspect of you has a Source essence in there, so that it's flowing. So your blood and bones and all the other things, every thought, every feeling, every organ, every fluid, everything that's part of you, your hair, your skin, all the physical stuff and all the thought stuff and all the energy stuff is infused with that Source energy. So in any given moment, as I navigate my way in this life, how would I light those parts of me up so that they can be as big and as present and as full as this physicality version of me that seems so obvious and seems, for the most part, to take so much of my attention, because I see it and I feel it. I mean, I know when my body's being touched. I know when I move my body. I feel this, like it feels like it's me, because I barely think a thought and I'm able to move this apparatus around so easily that it's easy to mistake it as all of who I am. Plus, the visual, visceral experience of it makes it seem so real, whereas the energetic is more of like a underlining nuance. And how do we amp up that so that the energetic part of us can become equal to the physicality part of us, and then they can sort of blend and flow together? And that's my invitation to you. And part of the integrative process of what does this mean to really be more than we know ourselves to be, we're more than the physical, is how do we integrate that into our day-to-day experience? How do we activate that Source essence part of us, which is infused in every aspect of our being, so that it's full and present in any moment? Because that's when true alignment and true resonance really takes us to a new place. When the Source energy of us and the physically expressed energy of us come intertwined together, it's just incredible. It's what we all desire. It's the feeling of bliss beyond bliss. And so I invite you to play with that idea and to jump into the meditation and really just celebrate what it means that you are more than you think you are, that you are more than just this physicality, that there is so much more to you, and that part of you, that Source part of you, is perfect, amazing, radiant, love, light, beingness, infinite in every way, unlimited, boundless energy, backed by your inner being and the entire universe that holds the power that creates worlds. Tune into that and play with it. And maybe before you do the meditation, just sit with yourself and just if it feels good to you, just either be in sort of a really relaxed state and just play out what that really feels like for you and just really own the knowing of that. Or if it even feels good, write it out, play with it a little bit, see it as this kind of joyous celebration of knowing this in such a full way that it sinks in. And then enjoy the meditation. And I know it's going to be so amazing and going to be so good and really help you to take this into that place of integration. So I appreciate your time. Enjoy the process, and I'll see you soon.